Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. You're on Room for Rewinds. Never mind these words that are written on the corner here. I got some problems. Anyway, so today we're doing an ending explain of a very interesting movie called A Knock in a Cabin. And I have to say, Night Shyamalan really went back to his roots on this one. He really brought it, like the cinematography, the dialogue, the script, everything. It kind of reminded me of this movie that he did a while back called The Happening, and just the way it was shot, it was like, man, like, like I miss him because on the last movie that he did, he kind of missed me somewhere somehow. Like I didn't quite feel it. The movie was called Old, and I don't know. The storyline is kind of dope and interesting, but it's like I don't know. I didn't really just I didn't. The ending was disappointing. So on this one, I really feel like there's just this one question that lingers in your mind throughout the whole movie. I love the simplicity of the movie, and there are some questions and probably questions that we're gonna have to answer later. So without wasting any time, let's get right to it. Knock in a cabin.
So when the movie starts, we meet a little girl called Win who's catching grasshoppers and is accompanied by Leonard, who introduces himself and just be nice to this little girl and just talk to her about her scar and her parents. And then after saying something really scary, the girl retreats back to her house, and after retreating to her house, she calls her two dads and, like, you need to come inside, something is going to happen. And as she's calling them, they can see now that there are people outside trying to break into the house. And they ask them what do they want, but the people outside are adamant that they need to get into the house. And after a little struggle, they manage to actually break into the house, while they haven't even escaped. And they have a fight with one of the people there. And, we flash back to a memory when they first started dating and one of their parents didn't approve. And it's such a painful memory. But then we jump back into this and we can see that now they are being captured by these people who actually tied them up. And one of them has a concussion. I remember his name. And, they try to put their mind at ease and, try to apologize and, like, say they're sorry. And they seem sincere, but, their actions are quite strange. And then the first one introduces herself as Sabrina, who is a nurse from Southern California. And the second one is Redmond, who works at a gas company in Massachusetts, who's actually an ex-con. But they still baffled. What do they want here? And then they carry on. Adrian introduces herself as a cook from a Mexican restaurant and says she has two cats and a daughter. And then the last person to formally introduce himself is Leonard, who says he's a second grade teacher and asks them to sacrifice one of their own, but they refuse, which results in Redmond actually being executed because they failed to choose one of them. And then one of the guys, I'll put his name down, sees a light in the mirror and is actually shocked at what he sees. But then they end up sacrificing Redmond. And before they sacrificed him, he actually explained that they need to sacrifice either one of them, or the seas will devour the earth, viruses will spread, and skies will fall, almost like an apocalypse. So now this guy is dead and they're pulling him out of the house, and we can see like a great scenery. And then they check out the news, and yes, it is true. One of the events have actually happened. The seas are actually swallowing all of the land and people are running away. And then we flash back to a memory when they actually came in this cabin. They were so happy, playing a really happy song, not knowing what's to come. Guys, this cabin is to die for. Anyway, we jump over to another memory. They're on the lake and they're swimming, and then we can see he's being treated for his concussion. And Sabrina actually explains that they don't want to harm them. They just believe that if they don't choose one of them to be sacrificed, and it's still going to go on, the world is going to end. And she's such a caring person, but his partner actually reminds him that, hey, you shouldn't listen to these people are wackos. And Win tries to escape, poor Win, but then he's brought back to the house. And now they just need to continue with the ritual that they were planning to do. And after continuing, we can see Adrian preparing for when lunch and taking care of her, to indicate they're actually nice people. And you can see that they're actually afraid. Win passes a knife to one of his dads, and Adrian actually further explains why they need to choose now one person and tries to reason with them. But she talks about her daughter, but at the same time she ends up getting sacrificed as well. Like, yes, Adrian actually gets sacrificed this time. And then after getting sacrificed, she's also killed and pulled away. But this is actually heartbreaking for Sabrina. They must have been close. It's so hard for them to do this. And then they check out the news. And then when they do check out the news, the virus, the second event, the viruses have spread. Children are getting sick. They don't know what it means and everything. And it's now an important, point in the movie now. Like, do you believe us? But they don't. And one of the dad cuts himself a little bit loose, and as he's doing that, he runs to the car and he hides. Sabrina pleads with him, saying that he must come out, and explains that I can't hurt you. And he loads up the gun, like trying to get control of the situation. After that is done, of course it fails, and they point a gun at Leonard, and Sabrina already being dead, they try to kill, Leonard as well. And Leonard actually hides in the bathroom. And then we're jumping back to a scene where they're having a conversation also about the thing that happened with the other dad, who was actually attacked at the club. And they actually think it's Redmond who attacked him. The first guy to die. He actually recognizes him to be the attacker. And then as he's going into the house, he's full on attack mode, and he's having a gun. And then they're searching for Leonard, who is in the bathroom, and then pretends to break a window, so it's like he actually escaped through the window. And then when they open the bathroom and they check, the window is broken, but Leonard hasn't escaped. Leonard is actually still in there, and they have like this huge fight. And of course, now Leonard somewhat overpowers them, but tells them he's not allowed to hurt them. If he hurts them, then it's pointless. And then they see in the news, as they have killed who's this? Sabrina, the skies are falling. He said, there will be seas will devour the land, viruses will spread, and the skies fall. So after these three events have happened, Leonard has no choice but to kill himself. And now we can see the sky changing, being grey, and airplanes falling on the ground. And he makes a decision. Like, he says, I really saw something in that mirror, and I think I should be the one to sacrifice myself. And his partner begs with him and tells him, no, you shouldn't. And he's like, can't you see these people were the 4 horsemen? The 4 horsemen, the history, before the world ends, the 4 horsemen comes to earth. So he describes them. He says he was Healer, Malice, and I don't remember the other 2. And he says he needs to do this for humanity. And then he says humanity doesn't deserve for you to do this. And they argue back and forth, but then he actually accepts what he needs to do and actually kills him, and goes to Win to check on Win, and starts sobbing because he lost his partner. But then as they get into the car, they check out all of their stuff, and they actually find out that they were actually telling the truth. They were nurses and gas station people and cooks, and they were who they said they were. And then they go to a local diner, and it's actually true. What they've been seeing on TV is actually true. So the apocalypse has actually stopped, because now they're survivors in this incident. So what they were talking about was actually true. And I think it's interesting how God or the creator would choose a gay couple to survive everything and witness the perish of the world. And gay people, of course, they have this daughter, but they can't procreate on their own. So it's quite interesting. And then I believe them, because all throughout they were scared, they were nervous. And I also love how God chose a gay couple to survive everything. I mean, that is cool, that is different, because love is love. So that's my ending explain. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.